I'm Mark.
I'm Jimmy.
In case you're just tuning in and have never heard this show before.
Uh-oh.
Welcome.
Sorry.
Welcome.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm really glad that we got some rain. The last couple of weeks have been awesome.
Yes.
With the multitude of afternoon sprinkles. We haven't seen that in a long time. So
I love some sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
Yes.
I'm excited to talk to Megan today. She'll be bringing in some conversation for the World Breastfeeding Week celebration. The local Latch is going to participate in what I've heard is called the Big Latch. But we're going to talk about breastfeeding and kind of the history of this push away from it. And it's interesting.
What
it's
a
really
surprise.
Interesting.
It involves money. What a surprise.
Yeah.
How about
it
that?
involves money and sex.
The demonization
and,
of sexuality. And
it has to do with
war and
war.
Milk.
Yep.
It's very fascinating. It's a fascinating story, this whole breastfeeding thing.
It is.
Not having them, nor have I ever been breastfed.
Really?
Nope.
Not at all?
No. Unless she snuck it in really early. As far as I know, I was a formula baby. So that explains a lot.
Well, we kind of come from that shifted generation there where it really started. But so I'm excited to talk to Megan, see what she has to add to bring to the table.
Right.
We have trying to think what's coming up next.
I think the movie's next.
We've got
or teen night.
Yeah, well, we have this week's teen night coming up next Thursday, 6 to 9 p.m. It will be our last night at Family Street.
Fun Street
Family Arcade.
There you go.
There we go. Jeez, I want to rename it. I always want to rename it.
I know.
So I just want to call it Scotty's.
There you go.
But we'll be there this week. We're going to have tons of pizzas for the kids, some ice cream, and music, and send them off back to Seasons Cafe, where we'll be throughout the school year.
Awesome.
Weekly. So if you have any questions or need more information, you can always visit SalidaTeenNight.com, and it'll take you to our page with all the information on those events.
Right on. It's a great thing. We've been doing it since February 1st, and
I've learned a lot.
I've learned so much, and I've become much more connected, I think, and less afraid of teenagers.
Less afraid.
Well, I didn't like being a teenager,
I know.
and so now historically, until this past couple of years, I haven't really wanted to be around them. I'm forced to be.
I've run into a lot of people that are, and they all say the same thing, of being afraid of them. They don't know how to communicate, don't feel comfortable. But once you start realizing they're just humans with a little less experience. Some of them have a lot of experience, but they're, as always, if you've listened to us before, we go on and on about these kids. They're just amazing. So I'm looking really forward to going back to Seasons. Not that I don't love Scotty's.
Right.
I absolutely love it there.
Sure.
But I can't wait to get back to making French fries and pizzas and actually waiting tables and seeing the whole clan. We've probably seen about 3/4 of them, half to 3/4 throughout the summer.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to seeing all of the kids again.
Yeah, it'll be nice too. And they keep asking, so when are we going back again?
Right. When will there be French fries?
When can we see Chef Julie again? Which is so adorable.
Yeah.
And I think they're just looking forward to spending the last of the summer, first of the school year, as much outside and running around on Thursday nights as they can, back in their favorite place.
Absolutely. And if you're not familiar with our teen night program, it is just one night every single week, Thursdays, from 6 to 9, and we have partnered with Seasons Cafe as well as Fun Street Family Arcade. I said
Awesome. Molybdenum.
Molybdenum. And we worked out a kind of a method of working with the kids at Seasons. We have a very low-cost menu. We do prizes. Occasionally we have a movie. We have bands, open mic nights. But overall, it's just a place for the kids to come and hang out. As we go into this next year, we'll be working a lot more with them one-on-one for it to be more their event, not us
dictating.
Dictating, which we don't dictate anything.
Not at all.
I was trying to find the right word, and
I would love to, me, because I'd love learning experience. I would love to maybe have do a printmaking. Session, an hour, a couple hour. Something super easy, not a lot of cleanup. Something that they can actually make something and take it home with them, which I think is the goal of everybody's craft class. Because who likes to go to a craft thing and you'll get it next week. I don't want it next week. I want it now. My mother is at home right now. So yeah, I know. So we'll see what they want to do. If they're interested in taking cooking classes or
that was something I thought that we could do.
I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's a great idea.
Maybe do a intro every night where the kids can make their own dinner or something. I've got to talk to Julie. Sorry, Julie, if you're hearing this for the first time.
By the way,
but I've learned so much over this last year with them, not just at teen night, and getting to spend the time that we spend with them is very different than the time they spend with most people. They're very much in their personal element. Mm-hmm. It isn't at school. It isn't, it isn't a program per se. They feel like they're in a restaurant and we're just kind of nearby. But
well, I love your analogy of it's like Benson's just without the beer.
Yeah, it is.
It's like that's what grown-ups do. They go to a place and they sit and they
talk for hours.
They talk for hours and drink, and
nobody's making them do crafts.
No, exactly.
Welcome to Bence's. What
would you like?
Would you like?
Maybe they could do that though. That one might be kind of fun. I'll talk to Brett.
There we go.
See if he wants to do a printmaking class one night. Drunken printmaking.
Yeah, we could do a not teen night.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, I'm really excited that we're headed back and that we get to kind of see how this next step in all this unfolds, because as we become more and more involved with a lot of the local agencies that provide support to these kids, as well as, the school system and all of that.
Sure.
I think we're going to see a larger movement of kids through the program. And I think the coolness factor has slowly been creeping up because they realize we're not, hey, you guys want to take a survey?
Yeah.
So often these kids are like, oh, you're all together. Would you like to do a survey?
Yeah, tell us. No,
oh, sure. I'd love to do a survey.
Yeah.
So I think they've kind of loosened up.
Right.
Now they'll do surveys. But
if we're giving them, if we're administering the surveys, they would probably do them.
So I know that you have a lot of favorite things that we do. But for me, this is definitely one of them.
It's growing on me. It's definitely growing on me. I see it as my part-time job. Because at first, when we started, it was like, okay, on top of everything else, now one night a week for 3 hours. And then I thought, well, duh, if you want to bring your laptop, bring your laptop. It's not like, where the kids are going to say, hey, look at me. Stop working. Stop being a productive part of society, Mr. Monroe, and look at me.
Yeah, no.
And quite the opposite. I would bring my laptop and it would never leave my backpack. So it's nice. It's a nice distraction. Yeah. It's fun to be bussing tables and bringing French fries to people and having them say thank you, which is lovely.
It's really interesting because of all the peripheral things that we do, how much they leak into this program. Mm-hmm. Take, for instance, a lot of the LGBT work that we do, how often kids approach us with questions or and benign questions like, hey, what does this mean? Or where do I go for this? And
right.
So that's really great. Today we're going to talk about breastfeeding.
Yeah.
I had three guys sitting there one day, young guys. They're in middle school, older, and yeah, you can join in. Megan happened to just stop in. So
she just wandered in.
So if you want to throw your voice in,
her mic is live now.
You can move this however you want.
Yeah, just
Hello.
Get comfortable.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hey.
I wasn't even transitioning, but I would love for you to talk with us.
I got excited when you said breastfeeding.
I know you're like, what,
hello?
boobies?
Hello? I'm here.
Well, the boys are sitting there, and the one boy had come in a little later than the others, and they're like, "Man, where were you?" And he's like, "Ugh."
I was breastfeeding.
My little brother was hungry, and one of the boys says, "Well, so what?" "Well, my mom, you know." And so they start talking. They're like, "Ew, it's so gross." And I had just had a day with the lovely Megan sitting here. We had talked about it on the air the week before, and I sat down with them and I said, "Hey guys, there's nothing wrong with that." And we had a nice little conversation about breastfeeding.
God, I missed
Go
that.
Jimmy.
How did I miss that? Where was I?
Running around delivering French fries, but
Oh my God! The more you know.
I love it.
it was only about 2 minutes, but they were doing what they're taught and what they've seen and how they see the rest of the world, and so everyone else is like, "Ooh."
They're basically just parrots with anxiety and
They
BO.
are.
That's what it is.
That's really the key. What you
There's-
said is like they're just doing what they've seen, and
Right.
the reason why we still talk about breastfeeding at all, which when you really think about it, sometimes I go, why are we even talking about this? Like, women have boobs, duh. Like,
Yeah.
they breastfeed,
Yeah.
But the reason why we still have to have these conversations is because they may have never seen a woman breastfeed.
Right.
They may not
Exactly.
see women out in public breastfeeding. And so it is this thing where kids of any sex, they're just like, I don't know what that, I don't know.
Why?
So
Well, I had right after the walkouts, the national walkouts for
Yeah.
students in response to is it Parkland?
yeah,
Is that the name? I just seemed like it was wrong.
I think that's right.
There was one kid that overheard a couple of other students at teen night talking about, wow, I feel like I'm,
The spy.
yeah, and I don't mean it that way. I feel like we're chatting, but they were talking about the kids walking out, and the one kid's like, "Yeah, it's stupid," and he's saying all of this stuff, and you could have quoted verbatim what he said or compared it exactly to what I had heard on the news from especially some conservative sources, and I said, "Well, where do you come up with that? Why don't are you not afraid?" "Well, if we had guns in our schools."
Yeah.
And I said, "How old are you?" And he's like, 12, I'm leaving. I'm like, it's okay. I'm not, that wasn't a question as far as teen night. It's just, I just wondered how old you were and how you felt about this. And all of his friends around him were saying, "Well, I'm scared. I'm just waiting for the day for it to happen here." And I just thought it was interesting. We all do that. We learn by what we see, and especially when we're trying to converse and connect,
Right.
that's where we're going to grab it from. So,
Totally.
but anyway, so do you want to read our underwriting?
Yeah. Could I do that?
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay. Only because
Sky would get, oh my gosh.
I know. Well, but only because Sky, I know you're listening, so I'm going to make this as awesome as I possibly can.
Me.
La 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 la.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
Fridays at 3 is sponsored in part by Ship and Pack, the most comprehensive packing and shipping business you'll ever use. From stamps to packing, shipping, shredding, copies, moving supplies.
And more.
Ship and Pack, formerly known as the business formerly known as Pack Mail, is located at 224 West Highway 50 in Slida. They have a new phone number, you guys. Phone them at 530-3025.
And they have a new website, too.
They do. It's shipandpack.net. And you can email them at info@shipandpack.net.
Well, I was there yesterday. Sky helped me. Awesome as usual. One of those places in our town that it's like, oh, thank goodness we have this option.
It's
'Cause
crucial.
A lot of towns don't have it our size, so it's pretty awesome. And they've always really built an environment that I appreciated.
Yeah.
And they have the coolest cards. She has thousands of cards.
I know.
Have you been in the...
Like greeting cards?
Yeah,
Yeah.
greeting cards.
Oh, I need to go in.
And good ones.
Oh, good.
Like
the Avante.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
like
love
the ones that they're like really glossy and heavy, and they have like the bulldog with the goggles, you know.
Totally.
And then you open it up and it says, "Flying high for your birthday," or some such nonsense.
Those are the best kind.
Those are the best kind. So, Megan,
Hi.
what do...
I'm here.
Yay!
What does World War II,
God.
Marilyn Monroe, spoons, and racism have in common?
I don't know, Jimmy. What is it? Tell me.
The decline of breastfeeding in America.
Dun dun dun.
Oh
Ooh,
man, I wish I
like
had
that.
I wish I had a fanfare. Or
I
something.
know. Dun, dun, dun.
I like that. That's
Rats.
wow. Okay, I can touch on all of those things.
So,
I'm like, I'm ready.
are you
Yeah,
ready?
Let's do this.
So you're right.
Yeah, I
yes,
know I am. Duh.
yes, 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 and yes. True.
I read it
and
on the
true.
internet. Of course, I'm right.
So
Silly woman.
Breastfeeding has been a part of my life, believe it or not.
that's great.
It's been a big part of my life. And I'm really shocked that we are still in a state of disruption in this process. Like I do understand that some mothers choose not to. That there's no shaming. That isn't at all what's included in this conversation.
Absolutely.
At
Totally
all.
not.
Absolutely.
But I do believe that many of those mothers who make that decision for reasons outside of themselves.
Absolutely.
Not like, oh, I just don't want to do that. Some of them have been taught and shamed into not breastfeeding.
Absolutely. And the other thing that is hard is I think in this conversation, we don't give enough credit to the marketing campaigns of formula companies. These are strong, powerful people with a lot of money. And so the problem is that they target new mothers, which, in my opinion, who targets a new mother for anything?
Other than support and kindness. Yeah.
Right.
Hunters do.
But right. But like at the end of the day, it's a money making business. So
Totally.
for them, they want to prove that they make the best product. They want to make claims that are, fantastic and wonderful and miraculous and, make your babies more beautiful and lovely and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this is being put on a new mother, which when a woman becomes a mother, her brain changes. I mean, she literally is reborn, transformed. And so literally, but like, yeah, totally.
Mama Hulk.
Yeah, totally. Mama bear. And so like, it's just, the mom wants to do whatever is best for the baby. So if they're getting free formula in the mail, if they're getting these things that say,
it's not good enough. What you have isn't good enough.
It's not good enough what you have. You can't make enough milk. Your life is going to be ruined if you breastfeed. Then they're like, whatever I need to do,
So now let's throw in, on top of that, we throw in this social aspect of the sexualization of the breast.
There you go.
And how all of a sudden mothers can't breastfeed unless they're in a dark, tiny corner somewhere shielded
Absolutely.
from the rest of society.
And
Solitary confinement.
Right. And you may have heard recently, hey, surprise, it's legal to breastfeed in 50 states.
Yeah.
I know. I mean,
It's legal for you to breathe.
I have a real issue with cursing, so I'm really trying to hold it in now. But it's just one of the people that the legislatures in Utah, it was Utah and Idaho that were the straggling states. He said, this is not appropriate. It's not appropriate for a mom to be breastfeeding in public. I'm not comfortable with this. And
Don't go outside.
right. And
Don't
it's
ever
like,
leave your house.
well, in my opinion, if you're not comfortable with a breastfeeding a child, then perhaps you might need to seek out some assistance, because
Sure.
that's a little scary. I mean,
Oh yeah.
And don't buy a gun.
right? Oh my gosh, right? To sexualize a basic biological event is
Yeah.
scary.
Well, it is. It's very, And the states that you mentioned, those two, I've been through both of them.
Been in one side, not the other.
Pretty much.
Well, but I find that shocking.
I know.
I mean, especially one side of my family is Mormon.
Okay.
I can't imagine any group that has such a focus on family,
Right.
to have an issue around a natural function. I mean, it's not anything. Oh, it's shocking.
Well, to bring
Shocking.
up the really awesome point that you made with World War II
Yeah.
and Marilyn Monroe especially, I mean, this sexualization of a woman's body, breasts belonged to men.
Well,
They
everything
were,
does.
everything belongs to the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
So it did become this very sexualized thing. And also at that same time.
In America. Hold on, we got to back up.
There you
Yeah.
go.
In America,
Yes.
because
Please, yes.
again, it isn't everywhere.
No.
It's in the United States.
And that's what
predominantly.
World Breastfeeding Week, which is right now.
Like this minute, it is happening.
It started.
Now.
It started 2 days ago, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and the thing is World Breastfeeding Week is this time that happens every year to celebrate and advocate for breastfeeding, which in America is sort of this, social thing, right? But in other countries around the world, it is a life or death thing. In countries around the world that don't have access to clean water all the time, if they take the formula samples that formula companies are giving them, by the way.
Oh, sure, for free. Here, have
For
this.
free. They are
Mix that
going
with your dirty
with your
water.
dirty water.
Your contaminated water. Now feed it to your child.
Right.
Now, not only are they suffering from malnutrition, they've been poisoned.
Exactly. And babies are dying all the time because of this. Also, in America.
Meanwhile, mom is sitting there going, "Ugh, I am so uncomfortable.
Right.
I,
Totally.
I wish I had something to
Yes.
do with this.
Yeah.
What can I do with these things?"
What is this feeling
Ugh.
here? Yeah, totally. And there's just all this research, I mean, it's not even like a scientific question, I think, in my opinion anymore. And I don't really know if anybody's touting that anymore. But, really on a global scale, breastfeeding can eliminate poverty, shorten gaps in societies. I mean, it's not a shame thing. Shame moms who can't or don't want to. It's not about that. It's about how are we giving mothers around the globe the best support, the best options for literally the life or death situation of their babies.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, So out of this, I read a lot of different articles over the last couple of months.
Awesome.
And there was one.
Yeah, he's really into it.
I love it.
there
That
was-
makes me so happy, Jimmy. Thank you.
Well, no, it's important.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really important. It's really sad because this is just another example of our destruction of our culture, the beginning of the destruction of what I believe, again, this is my opinion. I didn't read that anywhere. But the
What website was
beginning
that? I'd go there.
of some really big problems in our culture and our American culture post World War II. And the environment, the way we treat each other socially, sex, all of those things have just, man, we were like, wow, we won. I think
Let's
we
destroy
won.
ourselves.
Yeah, let's
I
destroy
know.
ourselves. And this is one of the biggest, I think, and because it does combine this idea of racism, of
Absolutely.
this thing of shaming everyone else, of showing white people as, look, we're perfect.
Totally.
This idea of a silver spoon in your mouth, where these children went from being completely nurtured to the baby food lobby
Absolutely.
pushing to say, oh, your breast milk isn't enough. Because if we had lived for thousands and thousands of years on this, we just wouldn't be here.
This perfect adaptable liquid that the body generates because of it's having a child, like just any other animal on the planet. Because plot twist, y'all, we're freaking animals, okay?
That
Just
is
so
really
you know,
hard for a lot
we're
of
mammals.
humans to deal
We
with.
are mammals.
And I think you're right. I think that's a really actually super good point.
It's huge.
Golly.
We have, as humans, we have this pride that we are chosen.
We have opposable thumbs.
We have opposable thumbs. We walk on 2 feet. Oh my God.
We
right?
can speak.
Right. Okay. So
Damn
then,
it.
therefore, we're above biology. We're above nature.
And we keep destroying these
And
things
we
that
keep
connect us to it,
Right.
so that we don't have to remember that we're animals.
Exactly.
And it's like, ooh, that's the one that really does it. You know, here's someone breastfeeding. That means
that means that we are animals.
We are one step away from swinging back into the trees, y'all.
Right.
Which
And I
I'm
think that,
totally okay with, by the
right?
way. But it's
Well, I think that you brought up a really good point.
Of course I did.
Of course you did, Jimmy.
Just joking.
Well, so as humans,
welcome to my world.
Mark.
It's a total joke.
Well, as humans, also the message that women receive is, if you can't like walk out of your labor bed and like go walk the runway or
Bake a
go
cake.
like bake a
Fry
cake
it up in the pan.
or fry it up in the pan or like go like run your CEO, then you're useless.
Or
as
make
a woman.
another baby.
Or make another baby, right? So, you know, one message is you can't breastfeed and work. So if we continue in our country with no maternity policies, one of only 3 developed nations in the globe that does not have paid maternity leave, this sort of thing does prevent women from meeting
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
breastfeeding goals. And so it's like
Well, again, another control issue, though, for
another
women.
control issue.
And another way that, although women have made the decision not to go back to work because of it, or to go back to work and not breastfeed, doesn't necessarily connect to what's been expected or the power they're
Exactly.
trying to exercise of saying, okay, well, you just can't come to work, really. You
Right.
probably should just stay at home and breastfeed.
Right,
you know?
right, totally. It's like, yeah, because it's just conflicting ideas.
Right.
You know, you'll never hear a business say, "Oh, breastfeeding is important to us, so we'll give you what you need to ensure that this works." But what you will often hear, and this is also what you were saying about racism, is, you know, groups of people in our country are being targeted because they don't have jobs that respect their legal right to have time to pump. They don't have a place to pump. You know, they're like, I don't have a choice. I have to go back to work. I can't pump milk because I'm not going to ask my manager at Walmart or McDonald's or whatever. I'm not going to ask that. I might lose my job. I am fearful. You know, this is all I have. So we attack socioeconomic, you know, groups in our country and racial groups in our country, and it is definitely a race thing.
Well, and on the flip side too, if you know, here's Almighty Whitey feeding the baby with the
Damn.
silver spoon in their high chair, and you know, like, you're breastfeeding. What's wrong with you? So then,
Right.
it's that thing of just wanting to fit into society and being a part of what everyone else has, or doing the right thing for your child. So
Right.
most of these women have made decisions in contrary to reality,
Right.
based on what it is they feel they need to be able to supply their children. And so that's where the deception, it's like, ooh, that
Yeah.
is awful. How
And then
many
there are
kids have
people
grown up with illnesses or
that
have
are completely preventable.
Exactly.
Completely preventable.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Fridays at 3 with Jimmy and Mark here on your community radio station, KHNLP 106.9 FM in Salida. We're in the studio with Megan Lombardo from the local Latch.
Hello.
Talking about World Breastfeeding Week, which started on the 1st of August. And then you do the math from there. I just want to remind everyone, the views expressed on this program
such as mine.
are those of our Jimmy and myself. And our guests, and do
Megan.
not necessarily reflect the views of the KHEN staff, volunteers, underwriters, board of directors, or any other sentient entity that might be listening.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I
But back to breastfeeding.
I find something, and this, I mean, it's all connected, but it's something that I think is an interesting fact, is that through this process of pushing solid foods onto babies, not that they shouldn't have them at all, I'm not saying that, but this push where that has been the majority of what they are fed, there's like this point where there's almost a severing of the relationship between mother and child, and so now you've got this child sitting in a high chair being fed with an object, and there isn't the holding, and there isn't the nurturing, and there isn't the. So how does that affect our mental health? I think it's huge.
It's huge,
Yeah.
and so what you said right there, I mean, so many points, like
I know,
so
sorry.
many points, but
He's so good. I'm sorry.
it's so good. You're so good, Jimmy. Well, so some things that we're still arguing against is babies should not be having solid food at 4 months old. That's too early. Babies do not sleep through the night if you give them cereal. It doesn't. That evidence supports that is not the case. However, these are really hard myths to break, old wives' tales, right? Whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Also, there are people that still preach that once a baby has teeth in their mouth, that they should stop breastfeeding because of cavities. Not true, okay? Not true. Also,
Unless you're breastfeeding Monster energy drink,
right?
I don't think you have to worry about.
My
Right.
Sorry,
mother.
go ahead.
Right.
And she's probably listening. Hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, Mom.
She had my brother and I a year and a half apart, and that period of time, the late 60s, early 70s, it was very prevalent. Like, oh God, don't breastfeed. Whatever you do, you're going to make them sick.
Totally.
And neither of us were breastfed very much, if any. My sister, however, my mom later, she saw like, okay, that was ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that. So she did lots of research and found a lot of people that said the baby will stop breastfeeding when the baby is ready.
Right.
And so she just let my sister go and she was like 3.
It was like last week.
Yeah, it was last week. And
Awesome.
I just remember when she got teeth that I would all the time hear, ow! My mom was like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny if that
If
has
swatting
happened in our house.
Has happened.
Yeah. It is like I mean, but it's and the World Health Organization recommends breastfeeding till age 2, which in America, are you kidding? Like in America, people are like, oh my God, the baby
2, they better
talks.
have a job.
Exactly. They better have a job. Exactly.
Have them fix my iPhone, would you?
Totally.
Here, hand that kid my phone. I don't know how to check my mail.
Totally. Exactly. So it's just,
Or
the
the Facebook. I can't get on the Facebook.
God, isn't it scary? I mean, my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old could run this whole.
Oh, I know she could.
Oh,
She's
she
like-
actually is in there running.
Yeah.
around.
She's running this.
You didn't know she was here? She came in her limo.
I did see her get in the car earlier and leave. I just didn't ask questions.
She's
But-
jangling the keys out the window.
Yeah, totally. Check
Mom.
this, Mom.
Sorry, we keep redirecting
Sorry, I
you.
know.
It's fun, though.
But yes, you are right that once that, food, and there's all these kind of rules and regulations that they have to eat this and they have to eat this and they have to eat this. But it's like, how are we actually communicating with our babies anymore? Like, are we doing that? Are we actually listening to our baby's cues? Which in breastfeeding, whenever we counsel new moms, when we work with new moms, we always recommend to breastfeed on cue, on demand, by request. So meaning that you watch your baby, you learn your baby, you learn what the hunger cues are, instead of being like, I'm going to set a timer,
Right.
boop, 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 and in 4 hours, I'm going to nurse a baby. Because at that point, your baby's going to be screaming, and you're going to be in hell. You're going to be like, I don't know. So, it's this communication, it's this relationship with a child that, in my opinion, encourages a more independent child, because they know that their needs are met. They know that they don't have to struggle or want for anything. because whatever they need is right
Oh,
there.
but they'll be brats if you let
They'll
them
be
do
brats
that.
and spoiled, and they'll
My goodness, if we all got what we wanted, what kind
Yeah.
of place would this be?
Right. Or, I mean, it wasn't too long ago that I heard if you breastfeed the boy too long,
Oh, they're going to be gay?
he's gay.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's just, and it's like, what I
'Cause
don't.
Because gays love boobies.
Yeah.
I can
Isn't
tell
it
you from
backward?
personal experience. Yeah, I love boobies.
But it is. There's still, and guys, there's still this stuff.
Well, it's all
coming
control.
out.
It's all control.
It is. It is all control.
And
I
it's
love
all ways
that.
to control. And I was reading the history of where many people believe it started. And one was the sexualization of the breast, which was at the tail end of the Victorian era.
Yeah.
And the introduction of a lot of the early on globalization of French and Western European ideas.
Yeah.
And so that started. And then we go through World War II. I can't imagine how awful it was because it really messed a lot of people up,
Right?
obviously.
Yeah.
There was this beginning, and I know in the 1930s, 20s, 30s, the FDA outlawed formula, and especially soy-based formula.
Right.
And they realized almost immediately that it was causing problems with
It was causing scurvy. It
Well,
was
with
causing
thyroid.
Yes, thyroid issues. It was causing type 2 diabetes, obesity in children, like immediately. Also, at that time, they were saying use evaporated milk instead. Well, cow's milk is not digested in a human like human milk is digested in a human. So
Hashtag 98% vegan. Thank you.
So it's like, exactly what you just said, and then as it goes on, you would hope that it would become more regulated, more ideal, right? More educated.
Well, but then
Yeah.
came the baby food companies, and
Preach.
that started. And
I'm here for
Gerber was pretty much the first.
Oh, yeah.
And
Nestle.
the introduction of this idea, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, was, oh, breast milk isn't good enough. It's just not enough. And there were all these studies that happened from doctors. What I think is interesting, they also said smoking's really good for your health at that
Yeah,
period of time,
totally.
too.
It's very similar.
So here we
very
are.
similar.
Now we're like, oh, they were silly about that, but breastfeeding still they were right on,
Right.
and it's absolutely wrong.
And if you look at the studies, right? If you look at those studies, and even just recently, just a couple of months ago, I read a study that came out, right? In
Studies.
some journal, right?
Some
But that's all you
damn
need. That's
journal.
all you need.
A
is
study in
to
a
tell
journal.
somebody there was a study in a journal, and they're like, "Great, I believe it." And it said that if you introduce formula in like the first 24 hours of a baby's life, it will help to prevent jaundice and some other issues like weight loss. And then I was
Isn't
like reading
that
it, and I was like,
opposite?
or you could just help the mom breastfeed. And then I get to so then I'm, getting to the end of the study, and I see who it's funded by.
Gerber.
Similac.
Similac.
Oh.
Okay. Abbott
Yeah.
Industries. It's funded by them, and I'm like, well,
Duh.
duh. So all of those studies were funded by these formula
You will
companies.
feel better if you send me a check.
Yeah.
Totally. So this is still, when I read it, I thought, really? This is still happening? Like, as opposed to, why don't we support a mother, empower her, help to support her in her breastfeeding journey and her postpartum recovery? Because also, alert, breastfeeding can help you heal faster. Every time that a baby latches on right after it's born, your uterus contracts, okay? And
Workout.
It
Yeah.
helps you get back quicker, okay? Also, it helps to prevent postpartum depression. Why aren't we empowering mothers and being like, you're a freaking superhero?
Right, totally.
Look at what you can do.
A human being just came out of you.
Yeah.
B, you have food built in to make this human being an additional superhero.
Right.
Yay.
Yeah.
C, go you. Please continue doing what you're doing.
Well, and I've had several friends
And here's some money to do it.
Right.
that we've talked about breastfeeding and how they viewed it after they had the baby and issues that they dealt with. And a few of them who were in a position where they didn't have to go back to work. There were no time constraints on them.
Right.
That all they had to do was raise the child.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. I hear you.
You know,
Jeez, this is a vacation, you guys.
God, you just were on maternity leave? How nice.
Oh, did
That-
you get your nails done?
every one of them said to me, it wasn't that hard.
Right.
I mean, it was difficult. There were, I had to really watch the baby and be on top of things, but without, this idea of all the things I was supposed to be doing on top
Exactly.
of being a woman, a mother, a wife, all of those things. I just focused on it. It was okay. There wasn't an issue. And I
Right.
think that you pull out that stress and it would be a very different world
It would be.
for moms.
And what a lot, and to bring it back to
American moms.
in America, right? I was just going to say, to bring it back to America, we also, there are these studies that continually people try to say, why can tribal mothers in Africa, why do they breastfeed? Why are they so good at it? Why does everyone breastfeed?
so
Okay,
good at it?
seriously, these guys in here are just hitting their head on the table. I love it, you guys. Literally, this is the stuff I read every day. So, why are they so good? Why do they do it? And there are some people that are like, maybe they're genetically different than we are. Maybe their bodies are different. Whatever. Okay, but in reality, the reason why is because they've grown up in a community where everyone breastfeeds. And when the baby's born, it comes out, and here come the grandmas.
Yep.
And here come the aunts. And they're all like, here's what you do. Here's how we're going to do it. We're all here together. We're all supporting you in this incredible, miraculous endeavor. And also, side note, let's say something happens to the mother in childbirth. Let's say mom dies. Or let's say there's some other sort of tragedy.
Right.
Because that mom's mom breastfed her, that mom's mom can relactate
Wow.
and latch that newborn baby onto herself and start to produce milk and nurse her grandbaby.
Jeez, that is amazing.
Wow.
Big deal.
I bet
Far enough.
nothing was actually set up for that to happen. That was just an accident.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
yeah. Right.
It's myth, Jimmy. Come on.
It's fake
Don't you
news.
know? Here.
Fake news.
Pushing a can of Similac across the counter for you. Here you go.
It's fake
Would you do that?
news.
Yep.
Fake news. There you go.
Anyway.
We're having an extra snarky day here
I know,
on.
sorry.
No, it's all
it's
good
I
because
don't help with
because
that.
we are
contribution.
surrounded by
There's
idiocy.
there's kind of this underlying connection to so many things that we discuss, and it goes back to post-war America, and it goes back to really this massive rise in marketing and advertising,
Absolutely.
and this push in so many different directions, sexuality, gender, how we raise children, how we view each other, how we treat animals. It all goes back to what all these huge companies were able to gain power and start to tell us was the right way to do things.
Yes.
And how do we overcome that? I mean, how do we step past all of these things that
$1 million question.
Girl.
because it isn't that long a period of time. That's
Yeah, it's like
I guess,
50 years or whatever.
as Neil deGrasse Tyson would say, it was the last day of the last year. It's been just this millisecond in our existence, and yet it has totally reshaped not only us as a society, but literally our planet.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
how do we fix this?
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson also says, the beautiful thing about science is that you don't have to believe in it. It just is.
It is.
It's just actually really what it is. So
Well, and with animals, going back to animals, so we have gotten so big on milk in this country, right? I mean, milk.
Cow's milk?
Cow's milk. You
Yeah.
can't become like a contributing member of society if you don't drink milk, right? I mean, you know all the ads like
Right.
everybody
milk?
drinks milk. you know,
Got milk.
Got milk.
does a body good?
Well,
if you're a cow,
right? Exactly.
does a cow body amazing?
Yeah, it's
Thanks
good for
so
bovine.
much. Yes.
But there in America, we have milked the crap out of the cows,
Oh boy.
and we have an overabundance of cow's milk. So literally, it's put in a warehouse, and where does it go? Formula. It's powdered and it's formula. So this is all related. It's food, it's animals, animal rights, how we deal with how we, commodify food and, everything, this big business. That surplus of milk is now put into formula. So now formula companies say, we got to sell this. We have a bottom line, and then we got to get rid of it. So now they're going global, and they're trying to pawn it off on the worst off of our
Of course they are.
world, which are the babies that will be the most harmed.
Well, exactly. The ones in the most sensitive situations,
Right.
and the ones who, that's probably the only thing they actually have that's holding their society
That's it.
in check. Everything else they have no control over. So the one thing they actually have control over that is beneficial to
Their
them
body.
is we're going and just
I know, we could really like go down a
No,
and
it's
it's
just-
I know.
easy for me and it's easy for us you guys, we live in the best community
Oh, yeah.
for breastfeeding advocacy. I mean, it is amazing how many opportunities, how many support systems, how many people we have in this community that are ready to annoy the crap out of a new mom to be there, to be like, we're here, we're ready to support you, we're
Nice.
ready.
They're the villagers.
They are totally. There's an incredible village here.
Aw.
And so, like, for this purpose, we're grateful, but all of us have this same, it's easy for us to go down this, like, hill of, like, ugh,
Yes.
what is going on?
I know.
well, it's just we do a lot of different stuff,
Right.
and we step out there and just go. We do it. It's so hard because it's just, where do you start? How do
I
you
know.
go? How do you even make your voice heard? And
It's hard.
and I know everyone feels that way,
Right.
and you do it by us coming together and us connecting
Mm-hmm.
and us talking about this and speaking up, because what was it that I think it was around this idea of, there was something else recently that they
That was some of the dumb things.
no,
that
the
annoyed you.
pharmaceutical companies, and what's happening right now with kind of this almost movement into Europe and other countries with our setup as to how we deal with pharmacies or pharmaceuticals, and then they were also talking about the World Health Organization and their recent really strong push of breastfeeding, and how the U.S. was like, whatever.
And what's interesting about that situation was all that resolution said was, don't allow formula companies to come into these, really struggling countries and push their product. However, the U.S. values corporations. We value the dollar bill, y'all. And
Mm-hmm. all
so
about the
the
Benjamins.
U.S. said, it's a freedom of speech thing. And what's upsetting is it's not at all. I mean, it's not. So it's not even like the resolution was like a go breastfeeding. It was just like, let's protect moms. That's it. Let's protect babies.
I think of all of the amazing work that so many people are doing all around the world, and what does any of it matter when literally at the very beginning we disrupt the process. And so
Yeah.
now you have a child who grows up with mental health issues, difficulty in their body, difficulties bonding, all of these things throughout their life. What's the point?
Well, and also
Let's
these
just leave.
things, I know, right? The end.
The
But
end.
also these, breastfeeding can prevent something like $300 billion in medical costs.
Sure.
I mean, the economic impact is really huge. It's huge. So,
Well, and it's something too. I mean, people are finally starting. Well, the people who are trying to relay the information are finding the right ways to relay it. But to show, like, for X amount of formula, you're spending like 4,000 gallons of water, 6,000. There's this long list of how it's actually affecting not only our society and our environment, but who's
Waste.
making money from it.
and making money, exactly. And then even within the formula world, there's this juxtaposition between powdered formula and ready-to-feed formula, which is a liquid formula that's already mixed and ready to go. But powdered formula, I mean, it's just, there's all these sort of, sections that continue to tout their benefits and their, pros and whatever. And at the end of the day, it's really just about because breastfeeding can be hard.
Yeah.
That's the fact. So at the end of the day, it's not about whether a mom chooses to breastfeed or not breastfeed. It's about the fact that we have a lot of money that's trying to influence that decision, and that's inappropriate.
Yeah, it's inappropriate.
It is. Can we talk about your kids?
Hey, yeah.
I just really want to talk about your children because you have
my kids.
you have two of the most beautiful breastfed babies
You're so sweet.
I have ever met in my whole life.
Oh my God, you're so sweet.
So Nora is what, 27 now?
Nora's 38.
Nice.
She's
is
president running
of...
for mayor. PT, you better watch out. She actually turns 5 on August 14th. She's starting kindergarten this year.
Oh my goodness, she's going to rule the world.
I know. And whenever I had her, it was the biggest struggle to breastfeed. I was in the throes of postpartum depression. It was everything that went wrong, that could go wrong, went wrong with me. It was horrible. And luckily, what finally turned it around was a lactation counselor at the University of Colorado Hospital in Denver. That's where I had her. And she, we had a one-on-one meeting, and she changed my life.
Not just yours.
She changed Nora's life.
A lot of people.
And she changed a lot of people's lives. And another thing that was really beautiful, the whole world.
Well,
don't agree with him.
I look at how much she's done because of this. It's pretty incredible.
I'm a pianist, okay? I have been playing piano my entire life. I've been studying since I was 6. I went to college for piano. So my whole life I was like, I'm a musician. I'm a pianist. I'm a singer. I'm a musician. That's my life. That's what I do. Then I had a baby, and I went through this whole breastfeeding thing, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, moms do this every day. What the hell? So, sorry. So
it's
then
okay. Hell's not in the word.
I thought, okay, yes. So then I thought, I think a strength of mine is connection, and it's something that I crave, and it's something that I think I'm good at. So how could I support other mothers in this? And really, honestly, I truly believe that other people can sometimes see your path before you can see your path.
Sure.
And Lorraine Redmond of the Chaffee County Breastfeeding Coalition, whenever we had our lactation counselor training here, I was awarded a partial scholarship to go to it, and I kind of thought, what am I going to do with this? I'm a musician. I don't.
Yeah.
And they knew that I had something to give and something to offer, and it's been amazing to recognize that I can do both, that I can contribute in this way and continue to contribute musically, and that I can have multiple strengths. Like, that's like kind of shocking. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm like, whoa.
I know. Well, it's amazing when you find things out about yourself.
Right.
It's like you don't spend as much time with anyone else in the world.
Right.
You're always talking to yourself. You're always living the life you're in. And then when you discover something, it's like, whoa, how did that slip past me?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but it's obviously something that you have a passion for. And I know you're kind of in the throes of it right now.
Right. Yeah. So I have Ash also, Mr.
Yeah.
Ashley, and he just turned 1. He's walking.
I know.
Guys. Holy
We
cow.
saw.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's walking.
And
I'm
you're
not
chasing.
ready.
Yeah.
I'm like so tired. He's still breastfeeding, but what's interesting about him is, like, for the last maybe like 3 months, he was like, I'm over breastfeeding. Like,
Yeah.
he would only breastfeed, like, he would only nurse like if he was going to sleep. But other than that, he was like, meh, I got other things to do. And so I was like, maybe this is the end. However, he started to walk, and
Growth spurt.
developmentally, he was like, oh my God, what is happening? Must nurse all the time. And which makes sense, right? Developmental leaps, growth spurt, psychological. He's going through all this stuff. So he's like,
Mommy.
I need extra energy. I'm burning more calories. I also need extra snuggles. I'm walking. This is scary. What's going on?
So you go and get him a Happy Meal.
So I just feed him cereal. I just give him cow's milk.
She's got
Cow's milk.
No,
She
I
got a
just
Happy
nurse him all
Meal,
the
that's
freaking
right.
time.
Boink.
Yeah. And it is, I'm like, I just tell Dan, I'm like, my husband Dan, I'm like, I basically have a newborn again. Like, he just wants to nurse all the time. And if anybody's offended by that, then sorry, because he is now walking. So he walks up to me, rips open the shirt, sip, peace out. and I'm left buttoning up.
Yeah, you're left like, whoa.
That was a drive-by nursing.
Absolutely
Oh,
drive-by nursing.
jeez.
Yeah, nursing a toddler is completely different business than nursing a newborn.
That's our next week's show.
I could just go. Sure, of course.
Before we wrap stuff up,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about first World Breastfeeding Week. If you want more information on it, it is really simple, worldbreastfeedingweek.com. Or just search it. You'll find it everywhere. There's lots of great information, a lot of things you can print out, share with people, social media things you can share.
It's all over Facebook right now. Chaffee County Breastfeeding Coalition's sharing it all. The local Latch is sharing it all. The theme for this World Breastfeeding Week is breastfeeding, the foundation of life. And it's really about defeating poverty, closing wealth gaps, racism, all of it. It's a big theme.
Yeah, it is. It's really big. And I think everyone can benefit from spending just a small amount of time reading about it, because it really kicks our society in the cookies, what's happening, and it's really something we all should pay attention to.
Exactly.
So second is the Latch.
Yes.
How do people find information about the Latch?
So first I want to talk about the big Latch on that's happening.
Oh, tomorrow.
We're going to talk about that next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the local Latch.
Uh-huh.
So the local Latch is myself and Ann Krogan, who's a physical therapist here in town, and she's like a magician. Okay, she's amazing. She works with new moms and pregnant moms, and she's fantastic. But she and myself started a private lactation company where we're kind of like the only non-medical lactation counselors that can see you outside of a hospital or public health if you're not enrolled in a public health program. So what we do is we do breastfeeding classes, breastfeeding support groups. We do prenatal workshops. We also have a 24-hour boob line.
Nice. Is it 800 boob?
I wish.
Oh, man.
That one was taken. But what it is it's 719-398-1406. So it's a local number. And you can call, leave a voicemail, and whoever of us is on call will call you back. We can set up consults. We spend about 5 minutes to kind of just assess what the need is. One thing that a lot of moms don't know is that under the Affordable Care Act, breastfeeding education is required to be covered in some way by your insurance company. There are a lot of insurance companies that are illegally not reimbursing.
That's not good.
But it does exist. So it does require a bit of
Strong arming,
which I feel like everybody's used to in the day of
Anymore,
health insurance,
yeah.
right?
Sure.
I mean, you kind of have to strong arm everybody to get anything.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
they expect you to, or you won't. You have to pay for it. So
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, our services are covered by insurance. So that's what we do.
awesome. And then the final thing was what you were about to start was
Yes.
there's this event, the Big Latch.
Big Latch on.
Latch on, that's it. Big
And it's
Latch
tomorrow. There's one that happened today in Buena Vista at the Watershed, which I haven't heard about it, how it went, but I'm sure it was great. And the one tomorrow is affiliated with the Global Big Latch On. So this is an event that happens in every time zone around the world. And as many breastfeeding moms as we can come, sign up, and at 10 o'clock is when the event starts tomorrow morning at the farmer's market. Just come, get seated, get comfy. At
Start
10:30, I know, get your baby real hungry and bad.
Don't feed him all night.
No, oh my God, right? I know. Yeah,
Don't listen. Just shush.
Also, yeah, I mean, man, so many things. Anyway, so at 10:30 a.m., Lorraine starts the timer, and everybody else in our time zone does the same, and everybody nurses together in a public space, and then all of the nursing mothers are counted over the 24 hours, and it's a global
Nice.
number. So, and it
Cool.
keeps growing
that's
every
cool.
year, so it's really neat.
That's cool.
Yay.
So, and we'll have lots of fun stuff going on too.
Awesome.
And we covered all this bad news and all this other
know.
stuff. But I did want to say Chaffee County, as you said, has been a really positive force in this breastfeeding movement, which it seems silly to say.
I know,
that.
it
It's
really-
just like, what?
It really does.
But there are many businesses in the area who have signed up to be breastfeeding
Friendly.
friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure where that information is. Is it on the Chaffee County?
So here's the thing about that. Lorraine Redmond, who is at Chaffee County Public Health, she is the spearheading force magician of that program, and it is changing lives because it is allowing women to go back to a workplace where they know that they are supported in feeding their children. So many businesses around town have gone through this development program with Lorraine. We need more funding for this program. They
Absolutely.
recently were at
The soup.
the soup,
Yep.
and they got some moolah, which was amazing. We're so grateful. But if anybody has some cash burning a hole in their pocket and they value children's health and women's health, this is the place to put it. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you contact Chaffee County Public Health, they can direct you how to contribute to the program. The person that I believe she's still there weekly, but would be Lorraine Redmond. So again, Chaffee County Public Health. And I will look and see if we can get a list of those businesses as
Yeah.
well as see if we could maybe get Lorraine back in here again
Yeah.
really soon.
She
That'd be
wanted
great.
to come today, but she's very busy changing lives.
Yeah, you know,
She's
it
very
happens.
busy.
I know that
You know,
feeling.
no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. But
Thank you so much for being here.
yeah,
You
thank you
guys
for
are
coming.
Such a joy.
I know it's always good to see
I
you.
love hanging
and,
out with you guys anytime.
And thanks for fighting this fight. You know, it's hard to
Sorry
fight
you have
everything.
to.
So
Hey, you guys are like the I mean, you guys fight all the fights, and I'm just honored.
you know, when you're a big brother, you got a lot to do.
I know.
You know,
That's true.
Just,
It's so true.
It's how we kind of
It's-
live.
I feel supported because of you guys leading the way in this
Thank
community.
you. Thank
and-
you. We really appreciate that.
Well, we have to talk more. We have
Yeah.
a lot of talking to do.
Oh my God, so much.
I
Okay.
know.
Well, thank you guys.
Do you want to get a song on and
yeah,
we'll
I'm gonna.
get ready?
I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna just. We've got coming up next in the studio is I'm really excited. The River Arkansas. They're outside the studios right now, bringing all their equipment in, setting up, and we have a dog too, which will be great. So I'm gonna just. I have 4 songs, 2 of the River Arkansas songs from their album You Animal, and then a couple other songs that I just want to throw in there just to mix it up because I like doing that. So we're going to start off with the River Arkansas, On Their Minds. You're listening to Fridays at 3 with Jimmy Mark here on your community radio station, KHNLP 106.9 FM in Salida.